Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome all of you. It really is a great honor that so many of you come so early. So I apologize a little bit for making agenda in a way that we start too early, but we have plenty of work the whole day along. So that's so. Later, I will say a few words about the project and some other things, but first, let me give the floor to the Vice Dean for Scientific Work of our faculty, Nina Kršljanin. She will welcome the audience in the name of our Dean who became ill. Many people immediately or from a few days ago have been ill, but okay, nothing serious. So first I will give her the floor, and then I have a special honor to give also the floor to Brankica Janković, the Commissioner for the Protection of Equality of our country. So first Nina, then Brankica, and then I will say a few more words.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Professor Vujadinović. It's my honor and pleasure to welcome you in the name of our Dean, Professor Zoran Mirković, who is unfortunately unable to be with us today due to health reasons. And it's also my great pleasure to welcome you not only as the Vice Dean, but also as a member of this project, which has been and still is very successful, more successful than we originally expected. We intended to make the curriculum for the master's study program and to write one book which would essentially serve as an introductory textbook to the program. Then Professor Vujadinović had an interesting idea of publishing another book on more concrete issues. Then that one book turned into four, and with the promise of a new series dedicated to law and gender by Springer. Professors Vujadinović and Krstić will be the editors, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the upcoming sessions. I would like to say only a few words about the relevance of studying law through a gender perspective. When we think about gender inequality, some of us first think about ancient and medieval history, where it went without saying, or at least I do because I'm a legal historian by primary specialization. And yes, there were, for many centuries and millennia, people took it more or less for granted that men and women had different rights and duties before the law, just as noblemen and commoners had different rights and duties before the law. Naturally, in both pairs, the first was the better off, but they took it as two different groups. Nowadays, we have different attitudes. We think that all men and women, regardless of their birth and other personal qualities, should be equal before the law. And it is a very good thing that, at least in very many countries around the world, generations are already growing up for whom such equality before the law is something normal, something taken for granted, something that they think every sane person should also take for granted. But there are also many challenges before the law seen from a gender perspective even today. On the one hand, not all countries in the world have gender equality. We know that now that a large part of the world has accepted gender equality as a standard paradigm, that sort of problem is readily obvious. However, the solutions are not always readily obvious, and sometimes those who are trying to help have the urge to abolish all that backward traditions and culture that come with gender inequality, that of course has the risk of destroying important cultural heritage that can be taken very poorly by the country in question, opposition can appear, and so on and so on. On the other hand, that might be a slightly exotic topic for most of us today. I think most of us here are from European countries, and we have gender equality before the law. However, the fact that we have it on paper doesn't necessarily mean that we have it in practice. There are many reasons, and I won't delve into them in more detail because that's what the participants of the conference will be talking about in these 2 days, that although men and women are equal on paper, in practice, due to some stereotypes, due to some poor understanding of that one problem or another, in practice, the results are very different. But there is also one more problem. Since we have an encompassing paradigm of gender equality, sometimes we think men and women should be equal literally in everything, and that is not always a good thing due to some natural, biological reasons. Take a simple example, how many of us have taken maternity leave and how many have taken paternity leave. But even that aside, there are important issues, say, in medicine, where men and women differ much more than we think, in producing safety equipment, in many issues and activities that are not primarily legal, but that are and should be regulated by the law, and having knowledge of where the genders should be treated equally and where not, treading that line carefully, is something that we as lawyers should do and should train our students to be able to do well. And I think this project and this conference will be a valuable contribution to that effort. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Brankica?
Thank you very much, Professor Vujadinović, dear colleagues, dear partners, friends. It's my great pleasure and honor to welcome this esteemed gathering on behalf of institution of the Commissioner for the Protection of Equality, which is also a dedicated partner in the LAWGEM project. I'm grateful for the opportunity to strongly support once again the inclusion of a gender perspective and in legal science and gender competent approach in legal education. Law is present in all structure of social life, and therefore it is so important that the creation, application, and interpretation of law are gender sensitive. Moreover, the absence of a gender perspective and equality perspective at all leads us to discrimination and dehumanization of the society. Seeing dehumanization as the ultimate enemy, the ultimate solution must be revitalization of humanity and equality. The source of the revitalization actually lies in legal science, and for that reason I congratulate of this great LAWGEM team, professor and teacher, on the work done so far. We and me personally, as an institution for protection of equality, established to combat against all kinds of discrimination, we are very proud of this project. We think that this project shake out deep rooted patterns at the university, and I think that we open a new page in the our university at all and the high level of education. Of course, the application of law is crucial. So we are here, we are your partners from the beginning of this project. And later, my colleague and me will speak about some specific issue referred to the strategic lawsuit that we have initiated so far. But what I want to emphasize in before that is that each of our cases is important from many aspects. We are creating legal practice. The society is moving towards more human and just, but also because of a strong, important message that our successful cases are sending justice is achievable and no one is above the law. But later we speak in more detail. And for the end, I want to emphasize that there is no need to emphasize the cost of bringing about social turmoil and the price of shifting borders. But if there is something what fills me with hope is the fact that we are here all together, theory and practice, and united and resolved to insist on justice and humanity, the only solid foundations on which a true civilization is built on. Thank you.
Thank you, Brankica. Thank you, Nina. I will say just a few words. First, I want to welcome especially our keynote speakers, Rosemary Hunter and Marion Ruvenkamp. Also, we will have as the keynote speaker Adrian Wink, a professor of the University of Iowa College, but she will join us online in the afternoon. I had to accommodate the whole agenda due to the time difference, 6 hours, so she will be there in the afternoon session. And also Ivana Jelic, the judge of the European Court of Human Rights, was supposed to be with us here in live, but 2 nights ago she started being ill and finally she got COVID. So I'm even not sure that she will be able to join us for the roundtable feminist judgments online because she does not feel well. But that's the life. So COVID has followed us and accompanied our work almost from the beginning. So we started in October 2019. And then in a few months, we planned learning, teaching, training seminar workshop. And immediately it could not be organized. We had to postpone, and it will be added to the Palermo, the 5th and the last conference within the project in October. So from then it is postponed for the October session conference in 2022. And from learning, teaching, which was supposed to be the focus of that workshop, learning. Now the focus will be on teaching and training of the LAWGEM team members. So Ivana Jelic will not be here. As I said, COVID did a lot, but in spite of COVID, I really has to say between all of you that we have been working like the people who do not mind, who do not care, who do their work in the best possible way. And that's the reason that we really make good results. About the results, we will speak later. And just to mention, we have 5 intellectual outputs within this project. So the project is, the main aim is to create the new master's program, Law and Gender, to reconsider from the gender perspective all relevant fields of legal education, of the positive law as well as all the subject matters fields which are accompanied to law. So also to take into consideration this multidisciplinary approach. And so the main shadow idea or the main core idea is to involve the people, professors of all subjects, to reconsider their knowledge from gender perspective. Then if they manage to do that for this master's program, they will also apply that knowledge for undergraduate studies and whichever of their work, academic work. So idea is, I think, very wise and useful. And at the end, we have already been in the process of accreditation here at the Faculty of Law, and some other faculties, LUMSA, for example, I forgot to say. So we have 5 partners. Cadiz, I don't know from the beginning to pronounce that the best, I apologize, from Spain, then LUMSA University from Italy, Örebro University from Sweden, Saarland University from Germany, and Belgrade University. And I started with just mentioning 5 intellectual outputs, but I didn't mention any of them. Nina mentioned curriculum for master's program, then empirical survey tool, we have already done it. I do not have time to speak more about. Then also the textbook, we will speak about that later. And 2 more intellectual outputs, gender equality legal clinic, already created, and it will be implemented. And something very important, lifelong learning platform, which you can see at the web page of the Faculty of Law and all other universities included in this project. For the beginning, this is, I think, enough. Thank you once again. And many of our colleagues from the Faculty of Law will join us later. They have exams even today, and our examination term lasts maybe 1 or 2 more days, but they will join us. So we will end this welcome part and the introductory part, and I will give the floor to Professor Ivana Krstić for the next session and roundtable feminist judgments. Please, Ivana, the floor is yours.